Hey guys, Wave618 here, hope you're all doing well. In today's video we are going to run through Pepperstone, which as you can see by the name of this video is my favorite trading platform. By far, it's the platform that I use day in day out to place my trades. Yeah, the reason for this video is really because I keep getting asked, what platform do I use? In all honesty, in the past I've been back and forth between many different platforms. There's a lot of competition out there, and yeah, by trying out these platforms, I've noticed slight inefficiencies with all of them. Never really been fully happy with any of these brokers, but for the first time, I can confidently say that I've stumbled across a broker in Pepperstone that seems to meet all of the criteria that I look for very, very well. And so if, like me, you share an interest in Bitcoin, stock market indices, Forex, gold, or silver, and honestly, this is a platform worth checking out because it performs very well for all of these assets, very low fees, very, very competitive. So definitely worthwhile checking out. It is worth noting that it is a CFD and spread betting broker. Now, spread betting is completely restricted to the UK and Ireland, while CFDs, they have a worldwide market, but there are jurisdictions out there that won't allow you to open up a CFD account. So do look into that. Now, yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is that I speak with my broker on a regular basis, so at least weekly, and I mentioned that I was going to do this video, and they suggested that I use an affiliate link. So that's basically what I've done. You'll find the link in the description to this video, and as I'm sure you're aware, by using an affiliate link, you will be helping out the channel. And so to return that favor, I actually wanted to make you an offer, and it's a very decent offer, to be honest. It's the biggest offer I've ever done. So it is a free resource that I'll be giving you access to. You may be able to guess what that is. Details of it will be at the end of this video, but I think it will complement access to Pepperstone very nicely, and that's why I wanted to do it. So yeah, that is there as well. And without further ado, let's crack on with the video. Okay, so very importantly to begin with whenever discussing something like this is the disclaimer, which has literally been taken from the Pepperstone website. So have a quick read through this paragraph, which really highlights the importance of fully understanding what you are doing by signing up to a trading platform like this, and also taking on full responsibility for your actions. Okay, so first of all, just want to mention a little bit about why I find that a CFD or a spread betting account best meets my needs. And the main reasons are for these advantages listed here. So first of all, you're able to use leverage when trading, and we'll go into details on what kind of leverage you're entitled to when using Pepperstone later in this video. One of the key factors and most important for me is the fact that not only are you able to trade long, but you can also go short also. And then the other main advantage is you have a wide range of market access. So you have access to most asset classes. And again, I'll give details on that later. The main difference with CFDs and spread betting is that you're not owning the underlying asset outright. Instead, what you're doing is you're betting on the incremental price movement up or down. So these incremental price movements can be referred to as points. And in the case of spread betting, which as I say is restricted to UK and Ireland where pounds are used, you're trading in pounds per point. So the example I'm going to use here is with Bitcoin. Let's say, for example, you want to go long Bitcoin, and basically on Bitcoin, 1 point represents $1. Yeah, so let's say Bitcoin is currently at $10,000 and it goes up to $10,001. So if you're £1 a point, you would have made £1 there. Whilst if you were £10 a point, you would have made £10. Now let's say Bitcoin in fact went down $1, you would have lost £1 if you were £1 a point, and you would have lost £10 if you were £10 a point. So that's basically how it works. You're betting on the incremental price movement up or down, and it's the same principle for CFDs. The only difference is instead of using an absolute amount of pounds or euros or dollars, whatever currency it is you're using lots or fractions of a lot. Okay, so I'll do a separate video really highlighting a little bit about position sizing with CFDs and spread betting, but that's the main difference. So hopefully that explains what you can expect from one of these accounts. Okay, so next slide this really highlights the key criteria that I would look for in a trading platform. I think each of these criteria are absolutely essential to ensure that your broker performs well on. So initially, and probably most importantly, is security. Yeah, you want to know that it's an established platform that you're using. You don't want to know that all of a sudden you're going to lose your funds. You also want to make sure you have a good means of contact with your broker. So are they easily accessible? What happens when you can't execute a trade that you'd like to? What happens if you have a query? So you want to make sure you've got good support. Okay, next being the execution. So you want to know that you can confidently place your trades and the trade is, carried out in a very quick manner. Yeah, you don't want any lag on the system. You don't want, a large amount of slippage with your trades. These are the kind of things to look out for. You want fast execution. Next up, you want a nice, clean and easy user interface to use. So you don't want anything too complex, something that's hard to make your way around. You want something that's nice and easy to use. And the next thing I've also put in this category is also it's good to have a platform that gives you access to different markets. So you've got that variability in what you can actually trade. It's nice to be able to do that all from one platform. And then obviously, a very important category here is fees. How much is this platform costing you to actually carry out the trades that you want to do? Okay, so this is what we're going to discuss and I'm going to demonstrate how Pepperstone does very well on each of these criteria. Okay, so first a little bit about the security and support that Pepperstone provides. So Pepperstone is an Australian company and it has offices in both Australia and the UK. Now, it's been around since 2010, and because obviously it has offices in Australia and the UK, it's regulated by these two financial conducting authorities. So you've got the FCA in the UK, and then you've got ASIC in Australia. All right, so that gives me that reassurance that it's a well-regulated company and gives me that reassurance that my funds are safe sitting on their accounts. Next up is their excellent customer support. So I was very, very impressed that within the first 2 weeks, they actively reach out to you, making sure that you're very happy with the platform, the way it works. You can get any questions that you might have answered. They make sure that you're familiar with the web platform, the app that they have as well. So they get all that organized for you, making sure that you're happy with how things work. After the 2 weeks have surpassed, they'll leave it to you to contact them if you have any queries. And again, they will get back to you very, very quickly. They basically work around the clock 5 days a week, and you can contact them by phone, chat, or email. So whichever preference you have. So I was very, very impressed on both of these points, both security and support for Pepperstone. Okay, so the next point to discuss is execution. Now, this is really a point that Pepperstone prides themselves upon. So they have really set out to be one of the brokers that has one of the fastest execution speeds. So basically, when clicking buy or sell on Pepperstone, it's going to carry out a market order. Good thing about market orders is you're guaranteed to get filled, and they can actually execute their trades within 30 milliseconds. So that is incredibly quick. And that is even ideal for those that are scalping or using algorithmic trading. Okay. One of the drawbacks to a guaranteed fill or a market order is the risk of slippage. But it's worthwhile keeping in mind that slippage can work both ways. So it can work in your favor or it can go against you. So overall, it kind of evens out. And the thing is with Pepperstone, because it executes the trade so fast within 30 milliseconds, that really limits the degree of slippage that can occur. So that's what I really like about this platform. But the fact that you're guaranteed a fill is the most important thing for me, because I've used platforms in the past where instead of using a market order, they'll use a limit order to execute your trade. And often they'll say, sorry, price has moved since you clicked buy or sell. And as a result, we couldn't carry out the trade. And it gets very frustrating because it means during high volatility, you might not be able to trade the setup that you've been looking out for all day long. And that can be very, very frustrating. So this basically prevents that from happening. You're guaranteed to be able to carry out your trade. You'll get a guaranteed fill, and the risk of slippage is minimized by the incredibly fast execution. The next point to note is that they are not a dealer desk broker. This is really, really important because dealer desk brokers have a bad reputation in the sense that they don't have they don't have any vested interest in you being successful. Basically, they are taking the opposite side of the trade. So whenever you put on a buy or sell position, they will take the opposite side of the trade, and often that can be associated with what's known as requotes, where they will change the bid or the ask, or they'll have these what's known as discretionary fills. So they have basically too much control over whether the trade goes ahead or not. And as I say, they don't have your profitability in mind. They're trading against you essentially. So that's never a good thing. So with Pepperstone, as I say, it's not a dealer desk. They are not taking the opposite side of the trade. That's very, very important. Instead, they provide liquidity through liquidity pools. So they have lots of liquidity pools through banks and funds that will take on the other side of your trade. So because of that excellent liquidity, it means that they can carry out their fills a lot faster. And again, that would be a reason for this excellent execution speed of 30 milliseconds. So another thing I really like about the platform is the fact that it actually allows for short time frame trading, so even scalp trading. And one of the reasons for that is there's no minimum stops. So again, with similar platforms, these CFD and spread betting accounts, they'll have a minimum stop. So for example, I've used platforms in the past where on Bitcoin you would have to have at least a stop distance of $100, which is not ideal if you think that your stop only needs to be $50 away, because that will seriously eat into your risk reward. You know, it can minimize your risk reward by a factor of 2, for example. So it can make a huge difference. So I really like the fact that they allow for these short time frame trades by removing the minimum stops. It's worth noting though, you've got to be careful how close you put your stop, because you don't want to get stopped out straight away because of some volatility. So always keep that in mind. And the last thing about execution I want to make is the fact that you can hedge on the same chart. So you can have a buy position and a sell position, or a longer and a short position on the same chart. So, and they won't cancel out. So on other brokers I've used, they'll basically cancel out. So if you have a long position that's greater than your short position, it will basically leave you with a smaller long position. Basically they cancel out. But on here, basically it allows you to tailor the trade a lot better. You have more trade management at your disposal by having both the long and the short position on simultaneously. So that's another thing I like about the execution with Pepperstone. Okay, so the next thing to discuss is the user interface and the market access. So with Pepperstone, basically you've got access to many Forex pairs, in excess of 60 pairs. And that includes your majors, your minors, your crosses, your exotic pairs. Then you've got your commodities also, your precious metals being included, as well as crude oil. On top of that, you've got all your major indices, your stock market indices there also. And then on top of that, you've got your cryptocurrencies. And I've got another slide where I explain which cryptocurrencies are available. Now, the main limiting factor is accessibility to stocks and ETFs. I mean, the MT5 platform that integrates with Pepperstone actually gives you access to, I think, about 30 of the most popular stocks. However, that's not something I use, so I can't give too much information about that. I'm very happy with this exposure. As I say, I don't trade stocks too much. I'm much more of a fan of the indices. I find the spreads are much tighter, and so I think it's a much more efficient way of trading. So that's with regards to market access. And then the platforms that actually integrate with Pepperstone are CTrader, MT4 and MT5. So this is really what the user interface will look like. This is what it pairs up with. So I find that if you've never used MT4, MT5, you want to use a CTrader account. And that's basically what I'm using. I use CTrader because it's a very simple user interface. It's really nicely laid out. It really is very nice to use. And I will do a separate video on the layout on CTrader just to explain how exactly it can be used. Now, if you have used MT4 and MT5 in the past, then it makes sense to continue using these platforms because they are very good. The only reasons I can think to use these platforms are really because of the ability to use algorithmic trades on either of these two, and also because of the charting software. So There's a lot of range of tools that you can use with MT4 and MT5. But if you're one of my subscribers, you'll know that my favorite charting software is TradingView. And so basically I will always do my analysis on TradingView, but my execution will be done via CTrader on Pepperstone. Okay, so the other thing about the user interface that I want to mention is you do have the ability to open up a demo account, and I recommend this to absolutely everyone. I always stress the importance of really making sure that you are successfully making money on a demo account before trading live. And also it's important, even if you are successful, you want to get familiar with the platform, and so you want to try trading on a demo account first of all. So I really like how they include that. So they have their web platform and an app, which I've mentioned already. Now it's worth noting they actually have two apps, one pretty much for the northern hemisphere and one for the southern hemisphere. And basically, as I say, one is headquartered in the UK, so that would be the one that pertains to the northern hemisphere, and then you've got the one that's headquartered in Australia, so that would be for your southern hemisphere. So there are two different apps, and it can create a bit of confusion when initially signing up, and that's why the excellent customer support comes in handy, because you can quickly speak on the phone to ask them which app you meant to install. So next up, so yeah, this is the two types of account you can set up, either a CFD or spread betting. So we've discussed this already. As I say, spread betting is restricted to UK and Ireland. Okay, so further on, and continuing the subject of user interface and market access, basically the leverage that you have with Pepperstone. So this is your maximum leverage if you're using an account headquartered in Australia. So it's 500 to 1 max. Whilst in the UK, there are restrictions, as I'm sure a lot of UK traders will be familiar with, or even European traders also, with that max on leverage at 30 to 1. Okay. Now it is worth noting, if you have a professional account, you can have a 500 to 1 maximum leverage, but these are huge numbers, and not actually numbers that I would be using for leverage. But it's worthwhile knowing that those abilities to trade with such leverage are out there. So the currencies that you can set up an account with, it can be euro, it can be pound, Aussie dollar, US dollar, Singaporean dollar, Hong Kong dollar, New Zealand dollar, or Swiss franc. Popular payment methods that you can use are your Visa, your MasterCard, PayPal, or bank transfer, and the minimum deposit would be $200. So that's pretty low actually. A lot of other providers will ask for a lot more of a minimum deposit, so that is pretty decent. But on the subject of leverage, I just want you to remember that if you are using 100x leverage, basically if price goes against you by 1%, that will wipe out your account. Okay, so it's really important to understand leverage. So basically, if you are just going to trade 1% of your account, which is what is recommended by standard money management protocols, then high leverage is not really needed. And don't forget, if you are using high leverage, it means you've got to use pretty tight stops, which sometimes is not a good thing as well, because of potential volatility taking out your stop. Basically, when you're using leverage, it means your liquidation price is getting closer to your entry price. So keep that in mind. Do understand leverage and be aware of the risks of using very high leverage. Okay, so our next very important point to discuss is fees. Now, in the case of Pepperstone, the fees are low. The fee is structured within the spreads. And as I say, with Pepperstone, the spreads are very competitive. Now, there's two types of account that you can set up. So you can have either a standard account or a Razor account. And in the case of a standard account, the whole fee is built within the spread. Okay. Now, with a Razor account, they offer you what's called the raw spread, so a much lower spread that hasn't been marked up. But on top of that, there is a commission. Okay, and that commission is based on a certain value of trades that you have made, and that will vary depending on what currency you're using. So you will have to look on the Pepperstone website to see how much that will be. But just to put it in perspective, if we're trading the euro dollar and you have a standard account, the spread will be 1.16. So very competitive if you compare it with other brokers. And then if you compare it to the Razor account, you can see the spread is much less. This is what's called the raw spread before it's been marked up. So this is the spread that you would pay if you're using a Razor account, but keep in mind there would be a commission included also once you've done so many trades. Okay, so yeah, you'll find excellent spreads across these particular assets. So Forex, stock market indices, gold and silver. Excellent spreads on these. You'll find more information on this on the Pepperstone website if you want to know exactly what kind of spreads you can be looking out for. But as I say, very competitive on these asset classes, which are pretty much the asset classes that I'm particularly interested in. And on top of that, this is the main point that I want to make out here. For those that are interested in cryptocurrency, I know a lot of my subscribers are, the spread on Bitcoin is really small. It's just 10 points. So don't forget, and a 1 point on Bitcoin is equivalent to $1. So if Bitcoin's at $10,000, then 10 points is essentially $10. So very small fee that you're paying for every buy or sell transaction that you make. And again, to put that in perspective, if we compare it with other CFD or spread betting accounts, let's compare it with IG Index. So very big company, their spread will be 36 points on Bitcoin. Compare it with Plus 500, again 36 point spread. eToro 59 points, ETX 57 points. So basically it's 3 to 4 times cheaper than IG Index or Plus 500, and it's 6 times cheaper than trading with eToro or ETX. This is absolutely huge, and that's why if you are going with a spread betting or CFD account, it just makes perfect sense to me to do it with Pepperstone rather than paying these much more extensive fees on these other competitors. So this is, I've yet to see a platform beat this 10-point spread, a CFD or spread betting platform. So that is absolutely incredible. And as I say, you know that I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, and so that's certainly very appealing to me. Okay, so now just sticking on the topic of cryptocurrencies for a moment, I just wanted to include this slide in here also, because this slide really illustrates why for me it's an absolute no-brainer to use a CFD or spread betting account rather than a traditional crypto-only exchange, whether it be Coinbase or if you're going to use BitMEX or Bybit if you want to trade with leverage. For me, it's an absolute no-brainer to use a spread betting account or a CFD account, in particular Pepperstone, because of the low fee structure. And here are the reasons for it. So with a CFD or spread betting account, you can very quickly switch between fiat and crypto. Yeah, it's a very quick switch to make. It's literally the click of a button, and the spreads are very tight. As I say, we've got that low fee structure that we've just discussed, in particular on Pepperstone, and this prevents the need for you to rely on a stable coin, which the validity of which is often questioned. Okay, the next point is that there's no major delays or withdrawal limitations per day on how much funds you can take out of your account, so you have more control over your funds. Next up, there is a bit of limitation on the leverage that you can trade on crypto. Now, some people might see this as a disadvantage, but I certainly see it as an advantage, because it's one of the big mistakes that people make again and again, and it's exposing themselves to too much leverage, in particular on crypto, because it's a very volatile market. And I am certainly very happy with 2x leverage. Even trading on the shorter time frames, I'm more than happy with a 2x exposure. And if you did have that desire for more exposure, then I would assume that you've got more money behind you, in which case you're probably eligible for a professional account where you can have up to 5x exposure in terms of leverage. So I do actually like the limitation. It does provide that safety net, because as I say, a lot of people burn out their account because of using too much leverage. Okay, the next thing and very important thing I like about this kind of exchange is the fact that your profits are settled in fiat. So this is particularly good when you're unsure whether, let's just say you're trading Bitcoin, you're unsure whether, you know, the Bitcoin on the whole is going up or not. You may be in a bear market, in which case, why would you want to settle your profits in crypto? as you would have to on most of these crypto-only exchanges. In the case of a CFD or spread betting broker, your profits are settled in fiat. Okay, that's a really important feature for me, especially when I feel that at the moment the whole of this blockchain industry is very uncertain, especially in the short term. Okay, next point is the fact that by trading with a regulated exchange, it negates the need for a hard wallet. And obviously transferring funds to a hard wallet is another transaction fee that you have to look into. So again, by using a regulated platform, basically that is your hard wallet. It's a trustworthy place to keep your funds. So again, it's saving that inefficiency of having to transfer funds back and forth, slowing down any actual transactions that you want to make. So the last bit is just the fact that you do have several cryptocurrencies on Pepperstone that you have exposure to. So that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Dash. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer really to use a CFD or spread betting account. And for me, it's a no-brainer to go with Pepperstone just because the fees are so much cheaper compared to their competitors, as I've illustrated. So if you can find another competitor with lower fees than Pepperstone, then please bring it to my attention, because honestly, at the moment, I can't see any reason to use any other platform. It's got all of these advantages listed here, as well as the low fees compared to its competitors. Okay, so just to discuss the reasons that I choose Pepperstone as my broker, based on the four main criteria that I look at when determining which broker to use. So with regards to security and support, as I say, Pepperstone has been around for the last 10 years now, and it's well regulated by both the FCA and ASIC, which gives you that peace of mind that when putting funds within your account, they're kept nice and secure. On top of that, with regards to support, they will actively engage with you to make sure that you're happy with your setup. And then after which you can ask any question you like with a quick response time by either phone, email, or online chat. The execution is absolutely incredible in the sense that they have very fast execution speeds. The executions are via market order, which means you get a guaranteed fill, and the slippage is kept to a minimum due to the fast execution. On top of that, there is no minimal stops, which I particularly like. And then the user interface is very good in terms of CTrader, which I use. I find it very easy to navigate around and have full control over putting on any trades. And then you have excellent market access. At least I have accessibility to all of the asset classes that I have an interest in. And on top of that, you have an excellent fee structure with very, very competitive fees. So with all of that said, I did mention at the beginning of the video that I would put out an offer. And I'll keep to my word, because obviously the link in the description to this video that will take you to Pepperstone is an affiliate link. And if you do decide to use that link, then you will be eligible for the offer that I provide on the next slide. So that's this one, and the offer is free access to my full educational course, which usually retails at £399, and that will be available to you whilst an active client on Pepperstone. So if you do want to find out a bit more information about the course itself, you can check that out at wave618.com. It will be titled Pepperstone Members Full Educational Course. And it is worth noting that it is completely identical to my previously uploaded course, which was called The Works. So in order to trigger the affiliate program, you would just need to use the affiliate link in the description of today's video. And once registered on Pepperstone, you would need to deposit an equivalent amount to $500, after which feel free to reach out to me by email using my email wave618@gmail.com, and you can request your free access link to the educational course. So I will ask that when you email me, do use the same email that you used to register with Pepperstone, because then I can verify that you have in fact signed up. And yeah, so that offer is available to you if you do decide to use the affiliate link. And I do think it's quite a nice complementary offer that will be quite suitable for having access to a platform like Pepperstone. So the offer is there if you decide to take it. Regardless of whether you do use this affiliate link, I hope you have found value in today's video, because I've really tried to summarize the key things that I think are important to determine when choosing a broker. So leave a thumbs up if you have found value in today's video. Keep an eye out for another video I'll be uploading very shortly. It will be regarding CTrader, which is the trading platform that integrates with Pepperstone. So I'll go into that in detail. In the meantime, take care.